Warm welcome to all of you. I'm James. I'm the host for today's webinar. It's a great privilege and an honor to meet you here all on this platform. You may have gotten an invitation to this webinar from a close friend, family member, or maybe one of our business consultants. However, you are joining today's webinar expecting a change in your life. Now, I can guarantee you one thing. If you stay 100% focused for the next 1 hour, today will be one of the most valuable days in your life. So allow me to outline today's webinar. This is a one-way communication, meaning your mic is permanently muted, but if you have any inquiries, you can message us in our chat box. Today's webinar is all about briefing our business projects that we're expecting to implement in your country. So pay 100% attention if you're expecting to get selected, because there is a criteria for selection. Now, allow me to introduce myself first. I'm James Simpson. I'm from Australia, and for over the past 10 years, I've been working in industries such as hospitality, conservation land management, construction, and now, a few years ago, becoming an entrepreneur, business consultant, and now developing e-commerce businesses. Now, please allow me to introduce some of our business consultants and entrepreneurs at the 1% Club. Mr. George from USA, Mr. Katrina from Philippines, Mr. Fafanya from Ivory Coast, Mr. Qais from Saudi Arabia, Mr. Sunet, Mr. Hazanka and Ms. Nawani from Sri Lanka, Mr. Fazil from Qatar, Ms. La from Laos, Mr. Napendra from Thailand, Mr. Hazif from Canada, Ms. Katrini from Indonesia, Mr. Ahmed from Palestine, Mr. Palwadi and Mr. Shankar from India, Mr. Taha from Pakistan, Mr. Fran and Mrs. Linda from Spain, Mr. Casidito and Ms. Severa from Kenya, Mr. Jacob and Ms. Bershrat from Nigeria, Ms. Windy and Ms. Wendy from Rwanda, Mr. Moggs from Ethiopia, Ms. Sevilla from Ghana, and Mr. Waldron from Namibia. Finally, Mr. Nuwan representing Thailand. Mr. Nuwan will be the next speaker. Mr. Nuwan is a close friend, and I'm extremely grateful to have him as a business partner and personal mentor, someone who has spent many years building successful global businesses, so pay 100% attention. Now, please allow me to introduce and welcome Mr. Nuwan to this forum. Mr. Nuwan.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction about myself, and for all of you, the candidates who have actually taken a serious decision to get to today's selection webinar. I welcome all of you on behalf of the 1% Club. So let's understand what is today's selection webinar is all about. All right. Firstly, we are going to discuss about the problems in the economy and how it could affect you. And then what are the available solutions you have? What is our business project and our partnerships and our affiliations? And what problems are we solving in the business world? What are we expecting from you if you get selected? The selection criteria of our interview process. So these are the topics I'm going to cover in next 40 to 45 minutes. All right. Now, I want to explain you about the real economic challenges at the moment, at the present, right? There's an economic slowdown. The growth of the economy is so slow where you don't see any improvement in your country, right? The economy is not improving in your country. Number two, increasing debt burden, which means that because of this pandemic which actually happened and all the economic challenges going through, the countries are basically spending billions and billions of dollars on solving those problems. So for that, countries had to borrow money from other nations. So because of that, most countries are suffering a lot with a lot of debt. All right. Number three, inflation. Inflation basically happened because of the supply and demand problem. There are ongoing supply problems, and at the same time, the demand is rising. So because of that, there's an inflation happening. So for that reason, the countries are printing money time after time after time. And for that reason, the value of the money you have is decreasing over the time. All right. And number four, geopolitical tensions. Time to time, there are different wars between different countries. So because of this wars, most countries are having an economic challenge. Now, you are being affected by all these challenges unknowingly. Because of all these challenges in the economy, most of the businesses and most of the companies are suffering a lot. They're suffering. And they are looking for different opportunities or maybe options to run their businesses. At the same time, they are considering downsizing of their companies. In other words, they are firing a lot of employees and trying to sustain their companies or businesses without going bankrupt. So all the economic challenges are affecting all the businesses. So because all the businesses are being affected, all the jobs in the market in every nation is being affected, which leads to a huge level of unemployment. Right? Now, for us, what we see, this economic challenge is an opportunity. And I want you to know most of the successful entrepreneurs are the ones who actually find opportunities through these challenges in the economy. Right? So we are 1% Club who has actually have a project which we are looking for few serious partners, serious candidates who are going to become our partners and work upon those projects. And we are seeking to solve some of the problems in businesses together as a partner. But that if you only get selected through our interview process. Now, firstly, let's understand the reality, the real problem in the economy. Right? Now, have you noticed that the number of population is increasing every year? Did you notice that? And did you also notice that the number of jobs are decreasing over the years? Did you notice that? And did you notice that there's a gap between the world population and the number of jobs? And there's a gap. This gap is called as the unemployment gap. Do you see? The number of population is increasing and the number of jobs are decreasing. So this gap is the unemployment gap. Now there are so many unemployed people in this planet, millions of them. They're looking for some opportunities, right? Looking for an opportunity, right? But they don't have any. Now, the question is, what are these reasons for unemployment? Is it really happening? Yes, it is. The number one challenge for unemployment is the economic challenges, which I explained to you previously. 4 economic challenges. And the second reason for unemployment is the technology is replacing most of the jobs. Artificial intelligence is basically replacing most of the jobs, right? So I want to just discuss the second topic with you for a moment. How many of you have a smartphone? How many of you do? Almost everyone. Almost everyone in this forum basically logged into this meeting through your smartphone, correct? Or maybe your laptop, correct? Now, do you have any of these applications on your smartphone? Do you have WhatsApp? Do you have Messenger, Instagram, Telegram, Line, WeChat, or email? Do you have it? Now, if you go back 30 years, 40 years, you didn't have any of these applications, right? So 30 years ago, if you wanted to communicate with someone, you had to walk, or maybe you had to take your vehicle to a post office, and then you had to post a letter to your friend or a family member, right? Correct? And you waited for months after months for a reply from them. Now, what did this technology did? They replaced the job of this postman. Now, none of us goes to any of the post offices just to post a letter to anybody, right? Because we have accepted the technology and we are utilizing this technology to communicate with the people. We are no longer going to the post office, right? Now, how many people lost their jobs because of these technological advancements? Because of these applications, postman is already out of business, right? Now think about your mobile phone again, your smartphone again. How many of you have these applications? Hotels.com, Hotpaya.com, Hotel Club, Hotelbook.com, Traveloka, Agoda.com, Lastminutes.com, Booking.com, right? There's a lot of websites, you know. People are utilizing these websites and these applications on your smartphone just to book flights, to book hotels, to reserve some programs or whatever it is, right? Now, what happened to these travel agents? What happened to these travel agents because of these applications? They lost their jobs. Travel agents are going out of business, right? So this is how this technology has actually replaced the job of a travel agent, right? Now, how many of you have banking applications on your mobile phone? Just some banking applications. How many of you do have? I hope almost everyone got some banking applications on your mobile device, correct? Now, if you want to make any payment, are you going to the bank or are you making that payment on your mobile banking app? Probably mobile banking app, right? Now, in a worst case scenario, you want to withdraw some money and you cannot do it on your mobile, right? Then you walk down to a ATM machine, right? If you want to deposit money, you can go to a cash deposit machine, CDM. If you want to update your passbook, you can walk to a passbook update machine. You don't need to go to a bank, guys, nowadays. I remember when I was a small kid, I used to walk to a bank and I used to see around 20 counters. But now when I go to a bank, I can see only one counter, right? Now what happened? 19 people, almost 19 people per bank lose their jobs. You understand? The technological advancement on this banking sector basically replaced a lot of jobs on those bankers. Is that only the banking sector, the postal sector, or maybe the travel agencies? No, it is not. There are so many other sectors. Now, you may be thinking that you're not a postman, you're not a travel agent, you're not a banker. Let's say you are an accountant. Guys, almost all accountant jobs can be replaced by accounting software. Now, most of the modern companies are not having any of the accountants. They're basically using accounting software to do all accounts. So do we. We don't have an accountant in 1% Club. We are utilizing accounting software to do all our accounts, right? And you may be thinking that you are a lawyer. Now, guys, there are robotic lawyers who could do the job better than a human lawyer. Now, you may think if everything goes wrong, I'm going to drive a Uber taxi, and I'm going to become a taxi driver. Guys, they are almost going to launch self-driving cars with no drivers. Once the self-driving cars also out in the market, millions of drivers are going to lose their jobs. So think about the future, guys, right? Now, some of you may be thinking that these problems are only for the people who are not too much educated, and we are the engineers. We are so educated. Okay, you may be thinking like that. But let me tell you, engineering jobs are having a higher risk than all other jobs. Either it is into construction, information technology, electronics, telecommunication, mechanical, or maybe robotics engineering. All these jobs are on the process of getting automated year after year after year with the latest technology, which is integrating artificial intelligence. Now with that, you may think that I am a doctor. I studied medicine and I'm a doctor. I don't have any problem because I really need to observe the patients and I really need to give them treatment. Guys, there are robotic surgeons who can do 100% accurate brain surgery, which a human surgeon cannot do. Now we are in that technological age. Do you understand? Now I want to show you a simple example. If we go back 20, 30 years, there has to be production lines where a production line is actually producing some products for a company, for a business, right? Probably if there was a production line which has 300 employees, that could be a big company, a large company. Now what happened in last 10, 15 years? Most of the production lines changed from production lines to semi-automated production lines. Now 300 become 2 to 3 employees. What used to be done by 300 employees, now they need only 2 or 3 employees. Now after that, what happened? They introduced fully automated production lines where there are 0 employees. When there's a breakdown, the automated system will let the founder of the company knows that there's a breakdown. Then he calls the maintenance guy, just a part-time job to repair the technology, repair the robots, right? Now we are in the age of businesses moving to fully automated production lines. Now just think about how big it is going to be, this unemployment, right? Now there's a report by McKinsey on job automation, right? And according to this report by McKinsey, accommodation and food service can be replaced 73%, manufacturing 60%, transportation, warehousing 60%, agriculture 57%, retail 53%, mining 51%, construction 47%, utilities 44%. This way, more than 50% of the jobs are going to be replaced in next 2 or 3 decades. So don't you think it is a big problem for you to think about? Your job can be replaced by the technology anytime and very soon. All right. Now with that, I hope it is very clear for you why the number of jobs are decreasing over the time. Technological advancements and the problems in the economy. All right. So what can you do during this economic challenge? What can you do? You have only two choices. You can start a business, or else you can go and partner with a business. Maybe some of you might be thinking that, no, I can become an investor. Yeah, that is okay for a small percentage of the world population. But 99% of the population does not have that much of money, that much of financial capacity to become an investor. So what can you do? Start a business or partner with a business, nothing else, right? Now I want to give you some level of financial literacy. I want to give you some financial education today, right? And for that, I want to educate you on 3 ways where people earn money. Either they earn money as an employee. So in other words, employment means basically you are working for a company. You are working from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. at a job. Now, if you remove the sleeping time, let's say you sleep for 6 hours a day, right? There's going to be 18 more hours, right? And out of that 18 hours, you're going to fight traffic to get to your job, right? And probably you're going to spend about 10 to 12 hours at your job. So which brings up to your company, your boss is basically taking out more than 50% of your life. Understand? You wake up the time he wants you to wake up. You goes back home the time he wants you to go back home. You take a vacation with your family members when he allows you to take a vacation with your family members. You dress the dress code he has given you. You get paid according to what he decides he's going to pay you. You understand? Now I want to educate you about the income formula of this E quadrant as an employee. Your income is equal to time into skills. Now, if you want to increase your salary, if you want to increase your income, you either need to increase the time you give into your job, or else you need to increase your level of skills. Can you give more than 24 hours a day? Humanly impossible, right? Let's say you give 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day, 14 hours a day, right? And you can never give more than 15 to 16 hours a day. That is humanly impossible, right? You need to go and sleep also, right? So let's say you give your maximum time. So the question is, can you increase the time you give to your company as an employee? Can you do that? No, you can't. So because of that, the time you can give to your job is limited. So now let's think about the skills, level of skills. Can you increase your skills? If you study a bachelor's program, your skill may be somewhere here. And if you study master's, little higher skills. If you study a PhD program, the skills could be more, right? But the question is, can you study 10 different PhDs? Can you study 10 different master programs? Can you study construction, telecommunication, electronics, robotics, accounting, law? Can you study all these areas and becoming so skillful in contributing so much to your company? Can you be that person? It is humanly impossible. So for that reason, the skills are also limited. Now, when your time is limited and when your skills are limited, guess what? Your income is also going to be limited. All right. Now, some people getting into this employment because of the frustration of the control by their boss. Okay, maybe the 2 or 3 bosses in their company. And the fact that they're seeing that their income is limited and they cannot grow beyond that income level. For that reason, some people think that I don't want to work in this E quadrant as an employee. So they decide to jump to this S quadrant to become a self-employee. Now they are going to start their own business. So when they start their own business, they have to work much more harder. They're starting their shop or maybe whatever the small business at 5 a.m. and probably close it up at 11 p.m. at night. They even work so harder than a job. But the good thing is that they are their own boss. Nobody is controlling their time. They are controlling their time, right? They decide what to do with their time, right? But ultimately, they too have a problem with their income. Their income is also equal to time into skills. Their time also 24 hours a day. They cannot spend more time than 24 hours a day. Now let's take an example of a person operating a salon, right? Let's say this person can cut the hair of their customers and this person needs 20 minutes to cut the hair per one person. Now in 1 hour, he can only process 3 customers. If you work for 10 hours, he can still process only 30 customers per day. So his time is limited, right? Now his skills, how good he is in terms of whatever the business he does, that is also limited. That can grow slowly, year after year. So it can also taken as limited. All right. So because time is limited, the skills are limited, the income is going to earn is also limited. Now, for this reason, some of the people who are in this S quadrant getting frustrated, okay, because they have to work so hard, but again, their income is limited, right? For that reason, some of them are moving back to employment, thinking that I'm going to become an employee for the rest of my life. But a small percentage of them decide and take a quick decision and move to this B quadrant and start to become a big business owner. So B quadrant is all about big businessman or big businesswoman, right? So in this B quadrant, as a big businessman or a big businesswoman, there's something called leverage time. Leverage time means you are getting other people's time, you are leveraging other people's time so that you can run your business, right? Now, when you are utilizing other people's time and running your business, that is what gives you a passive income. That means they work and you earn. Understand? That is called passive income. Let's see the income formula of a big business. All right. Income is equal to system into resources. Now let's understand this concept of big business income formula with one example. So I'm going to take an example as McDonald's. So in McDonald's, the income is equal to system into resources. Now, the system of McDonald's can always be improved time after time after time, right? Now, if you look back into McDonald's Corporation 20 years ago, and if you compare it with the situation now, right now, you'll see some major differences in the system. They have grown a lot. 20 years ago, when you are going in the road, you will really not notice that is a McDonald's. But in terms of appearance, in terms of seeing and feeling that, yes, I need to go and take a McBurger, right? They actually done a lot of improvements in order to attract more and more customers. Right? That is the improvement of the system. Can the system be improved in an unlimited manner? Yes, it can. Right? Now, what are these resources? So McDonald's has two major resources. Number one, their number of outlets. And number two, their human resources, HR. So who are these HR? Their number of employees. Right? Now, can they increase the number of outlets? McDonald's has more than 38,000 outlets globally right now at this moment. Now, in these 38,000 outlets, there are thousands after thousands after thousands of employees working and managing the business for McDonald's company and their founders. Now, the McDonald's founders have not yet been into all these 38,000 outlets. They don't know some of the outlets, where do these outlets exist, but income flowing to them as an extreme passive income. Now, if you look at the number of outlets, it can be increased unlimitedly. They can have 100,000 outlets after a few years, right? And if you think about the number of employees, they can also increase. We are living in a planet which has a lot of economical challenges. So everyone is looking for work, right? So don't you think if McDonald's offers more jobs, there'll be enough people to work on that project? Don't you think? Simple, right? They can find unlimited number of employees at any time, right? So number of outlets can be increased, number of employees can be increased. So resources could be increased infinitely with no limit. Now, because of that, I want you to understand the income for McDonald's is system into resources, system unlimited, resources unlimited, which means their income is also unlimited. Now, this is where some people get into B quadrant and find out the B quadrant business opportunity and move their income sources to a leverage income, which is a passive income. Now, if you study the whole population in this planet, 95% of the world population is in this employment and self-employment category. Either they are an employee or a self-employed, right? But 5% of the world population is in this B quadrant, building a big business. Now, where do you want to belonging into? Of course, everyone wants to get into this B quadrant. Who doesn't want to get there, right? Who doesn't want to have freedom? Who doesn't want to earn a passive income? Correct. But the question you all have been asking in your life for a very long time is that, can I also become a big businessman? And when you think about that, first thing comes to your mind is the factor called the risk factor. Because you are told from your parents, you are told from your school, right? Wherever you went, everybody told you doing a business is so risky. They have already brainwashed you saying that doing a business is so risky. Is it true? Now, if doing a business is so risky, what is not risky? Doing a job is not risky? Is that what you say? Let's see about this point, right? Now, if you are working for a company, you are an employee. Now, when you are working for a company, what does that company does? That company is a business, right? So if that company is a business, which means it is a risk. If it is a risk, then your job is also in risk. Because if that company collapses, you are also going to lose your job, right? Correct? So if a business is at risk, doing a job has a double risk. Do you know why? Number one, there's a competition. If someone is better than you are fired. And number two, if business collapse, because you say businesses are risky, right? If business collapse, anyway you are fired. Correct? So what I see, doing a business has a lesser risk compared to doing a job. Because if you are doing a job, if the business collapse, anyway you are going to lose the job. At the same time, if you are not better than someone else, you are going to be replaced immediately. Understand? Now I'm going to take one of the examples with Meta, the company Meta, Facebook. On 9th of November 2022, 11,000 employees were fired. But anything happened to the Meta company? No, nothing happened to them. They just fired the employees. But did Meta went bankrupt? No, they didn't. Right? They are having the same operations as it is. But they had a financial challenge. For that reason, they did not suffer. Right? And they actually get the employees suffer. And they have replaced these employees with different technologies. They have immediately replaced these employees with different technologies. Their operations are still happening the way it is. Do you understand? Now, what is risky? Doing a job or doing a business? Of course, doing a job. You understand? Now, on top of all these challenges in the economy, the technology advancements are also taking away most of the jobs. So this is the biggest challenge which you are going to be facing as an individual. Now, again, going back to the older topic, what can you do? Starting a business or partnering with a business. But when you are thinking about these two terms, there are some common perceptions in you. Number one, you are told that to start a business, it requires millions of dollars. It is not true. And you are told that to start a business, you must have extreme level of knowledge. That is also not true. You are told that you need to have an office space and rent a place in a very big building, very expensive building in order to operate your business. That is also not true. Right? So these are the things you were misled by the society. Now, I want to make you understand about some of the alternative options which is available for you during this difficult economical situation, and because the technology is taking away most of the jobs. Right? Now, if you are moving towards B quadrant to become a big businessman or a big businesswoman, to be gender neutral, your income is equal to system into resources. So having a big business is all about building a system. That means having a system. You understand? Now, there are three ways to become a big businessman or a big businesswoman. Three ways. Number one, you build a system. Number two, you buy a system. Number three, you partner with a system. See, in all three of these sentences, there's this common word called system. See, build a system, buy a system, partner with a system. Now, let's see what is build a system. Building a system is starting a business from the scratch and developing it step by step, years after years, taking all the investment risk. Some of the companies are Dell, Samsung, HP, and Apple. Now, to build a system, there's $1 billion investment, right? Very high investment. So because of that, the risk is very high. Knowledge to start a big business is also should be high. And this is why you were told by the society that starting a business is so risky, right? Very high investment. You need millions of dollars, right? And then you need a lot of knowledge. This is why. But the society did not tell you about other two ways of getting into B quadrant as a big businessman or a big businesswoman, right? Number two, buy a system. When you're buying a system, probably you are buying a franchise, or maybe you are getting a license like Starbucks, McDonald's, 7-Eleven, or KFC. And there are a lot of supermarket chains in so many countries. Now, if you are buying a system, the investment is in medium scale, but still it may require at least $1 million. The risk is into medium to high, okay? Because it's a proven system. And the knowledge you need is medium. You don't need to think and do anything, right? You just need to follow the guidelines of the given system because you're actually buying the system, right? System is already made. You just need to follow the SOPs, standard operating procedures, right? Number three, partnering with the system. So do you see the difference between these words? Build, so expensive, that means investment is so high. Buy, investment is somewhat low compared to building a system. But partnering with the system means the system is already there. You are basically partnering with an already existing system, right? So the word partnering makes you feel that you don't need to invest on the system, right? Your system is already there. You don't need to build a system. You don't need to buy a system. You are basically partnering the system which is already existing, right? Now, as 1% club, we are in this category of partnering the system. Now, we are looking for few serious candidates to have a lifelong partnership. And this partnership can also be inherited to the generations to come, where my kids will be one day working with your kids. All right. Now, when I say partner, that means you don't have to even invest a single dollar on our system. But there's a little investment on yourself. On branding, setting up your e-commerce platforms and websites, right? Web development and data security. For certain online security things, online things, e-commerce based things, you're going to spend few dollars on yourself. The risk is zero. There's no risk. The knowledge you need is very high. And this is why we are basically looking for some of the candidates who has that financial literacy and who is really good at this business mindset. You understand? But I also want you to know that the knowledge is given to you by the system. But a lot of knowledge is going to be given to you by the system because we want to educate you in order to make sure that you are the right person who we are going to partner with. All right. Now with that, let me give you much more clarity about our system and how you are going to become a part of it. Now the system is there. Now what system wants from you is your financial knowledge. System has its own projects. And what we are expecting from you is partnering with our system and helping us to implement and execute some of our projects in a global scale. All right. Now, we are also strictly telling you that you are not going to even invest a single dollar on our system. Now, think about this, okay? When you are not an investor and when you are going to become a partner of our business project, which has the potential for you to move to the B quadrant, to become a big businessman or a big businesswoman. Now, think about this. Do we really need to select you if you are not that most perfect candidate? Do you think we need to select you for that? Right? So I want you to know that we have more than 1 billion potential candidates outside this world. And what we are trying to do basically is to interview as much as possible to find out the best who has that potential and that real mindset, financial knowledge, understanding about money, right? Who can become a potential partner of a business project. Because if you cannot contribute something to our project, we don't need you. So before we partner with you for a lifelong partnership, we want to see whether you are the right candidate or not. All right. Now with that, I'm going to educate you about what is our business project and it is in detail. Now our business project is basically called risk optimization for medium and large companies. In other words, we have taken many projects from many $1 million and multi-million-dollar and few billion-dollar companies such as Nokia, Samsung, HP, Sharp, My Home Plus, Olic, Kent, Banago, Bricka, Britol, SMC, JVC, Fantastic, right? So these are some of the multi-billion-dollar companies. And at the same time, we are also having some of the projects with some of the medium scale 100 plus companies, which is operating in a global scale. Now, what do we mean by risk optimization? So those who don't understand the meaning of the word optimization, let me tell you. Optimization means reduction, reducing. Risk optimization means we are in the business of reducing the risk of a business, right? Now, how do we reduce the risk of a business? How do we optimize the risk for a $1 million company or maybe a multi-million-dollar company? How do you do that? We do it by optimization of the cost of their distribution process, right? Reducing the cost of their distribution process. Now, I know some of you who are not from the business background must have a question, right? The question is, what is this distribution process means? What does that mean, right? So let's understand what is the meaning of distribution process, all right? Now for that, I want to take a company as HP. At the moment, we are operating one of the projects with HP, all right? Now let's say you want to buy an HP laptop for $1,000. You're going to an HP outlet, HP shop, and you are purchasing a laptop for $1,000. What do you think is the production cost of this laptop? What do you think is the production cost? How much do you think they spent on producing this laptop? How much? $900, 800, 500? Think about a number, guys. Probably around $200 they are spent on producing this laptop. What? They produce for 200 and selling for 1,000. Why? Are they keeping an $800 profit? No, they don't. They have very tiny profit margins. All right. Now let me educate you on what is happening to this middle money. Right. So HP laptop is being now manufactured. It is in the manufacturing plant. Now this laptop goes to regional distributors. Now they are keeping a profit margin. And then country dealers. And then wholesalers. And then retailers. You are basically buying from a retailer, right? But there are so many other expenses in the middle, right? There are shipping and handling costs. There is shops being operated, rentals for these shops, right? And there are utility charges. And there are employee salaries. And more than everything, about 60% of the money in the middle goes for advertising and marketing. Because without advertising and marketing, nobody knows about this laptop model, right? Now they're spending again billions of dollars for advertising and marketing. Okay. And for every laptop, they're spending about 60% of these margins on advertising and marketing. So they're spending this money on TV advertisements, newspapers, posters, banners, cutouts, magazines, Facebook advertisements, YouTube and Instagram advertisements. Right? Then only people get to know about this laptop, right? Now, this $800 in the middle, which is spent, is called as the distribution cost. This is called as the distribution cost. Now, what is the distribution process? The distribution process is the step-by-step process of this laptop moving from the manufacturer till the end customer. Now, what we are basically doing is we are in the business of helping them to reduce this distribution cost. And by reducing the distribution cost, we are helping them to save more money in the middle, which means we are helping them to reduce their risk. I hope you get it. All right. Now, firstly, I want you to know what is the real risk HP is basically having. What is the real risk? The risk is they need to invest money first. They need to invest on shipping and handling. They need to invest on shops. They need to invest on utilities, employee salaries, advertising and marketing, hoping and expecting that they will get sales in the future. Hoping that the customers will go to these shops and buy these laptops. Hoping, right? The question is, what if they can't sell? What if nobody wants to buy? Can that happen? That can happen. Why that can happen? Because it is not only HP as a laptop manufacturer, right? HP has competitors like Dell, Toshiba, Samsung, Apple, Lenovo, Asus. There are so many competitors in the market, right? What if HP spends billions of dollars to come up with this laptop model and nobody buys it? They're losing billions of dollars. That is a risk all these billion-dollar companies like HP taking. Because if they make one mistake, they're going to lose a lot of money. So what they want to do basically is to reduce the distribution cost so that they are in the safe side. Now we are partnered with these billion-dollar companies. That's only for one reason, right? As I explained previously, you have understood that they have built a system which is high risky. Now we are in the category of partner with a system with no risk. Now these companies basically want to partner with our system just because they know that we are the best in this industry of cost optimization and risk optimization. So they are partnered with us so that we are working on their projects and helping them to reduce the risk of their distribution process by reducing the cost of the distribution process. Now, we work on their projects and help them to optimize their risk by optimization of their distribution cost. I hope you understood that. Now, with that, we are getting a profit share for every product or service they sell. This is a passive income for us. Now, as you involve in this project as a business partner, what is basically going to happen? Your project partnership can be inherited to your next generation. So we are also building a passive income for the next generation also. All right. So far, I hope you got the idea of our business project and our partnership. But I want you to know what is going to happen next. Next, we are going to educate you about the strategies and the standard operating procedures of execution of this project. How are we going to execute this project step by step, right? And at the same time, we are going to develop you to have that entrepreneurship mindset. Because we want a person who is really suitable for this project. You understand? Now, to see who you are, we are going to interview you. Now, finally, depending on your suitability, we are going to decide to partner with you. All right? Now, there's a selection criteria which I want to educate you right now. The selection criteria, the first criteria is mindset. We want to see your level of desire, which means we want to see how badly you want to build a business and to become a part of our business project. You want to see your desire, right? And we want to see your attitude. Because some people are carrying an attitude of an employee and thinking that they want to become a business partner here, right? So we want to see your attitudes towards building a business. And we want to have very close communication with you, right? And then more than everything, we want to see your level of commitment. Criteria number 1. And if you feel you suit the criteria number 1, then goes to criteria number 2 of educating yourself. For educating yourself, we are going to give you some video materials. And within a given time, you need to complete these video materials and give us a sharing on what you have learned. And then we are going to get you through a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? And then we are going to take you through a coaching program, business development coaching program, to educate you about all the concepts and step-by-step process of implementation and execution of our business project. Now, once you complete the criteria 2, we want to see how much you have understood about our business project and our standard operating procedures. So we want to see criteria number 3, ability to understand new knowledge, because everything you are going to learn there is going to be extremely new for you, right? We want to see your ability to understand your new knowledge and also how much you have understood about our standard operating procedures. And number 4, we want to see your decision-making ability, because entire business project and the partnership is all about we are continuously making decisions after decisions after decisions to change the entire distribution process for these million-dollar and multi-million-dollar companies. So we must be very good at taking quick decisions time after time after time. Now, if you get across this selection criteria successfully, and if you get selected, we would love to have you in our team and have a lifelong business partnership with you, which will be inherited to your next generations to come. But that all starts with who you are. Understand? And we want to see your mindset, attitude, decision-making ability, how much you are willing to learn and educate yourself, how much you can able to understand the things. You understand? You want to see who you are first, right? And by very close evaluation, we will decide whether we are going to do this business project and have this lifelong partnership with you or not. So with that, I'm going to bring today's selection webinar to an end. Now, what you need to do next is to communicate with the person who has actually directed you here to this webinar. And then give him or her a sharing of whatever you have learned, whatever the decisions you have made, and what do you plan to do next with this interview process. And also explain very clearly, give a very crystal clear sharing on your learnings you have taken through this today's webinar. By seeing that, by our senior entrepreneurs panel reviewing it, we will guide you for the next step and next step and next step of our interview process. And let's see whether you are going to be one of the suitable candidates who is going to be a lifelong partner of our business project or not. So with that, I'm going to bring today's webinar to an end and hope to see some of you soon, moving forward with our business project as a lifelong partner. Have a good day.
Look who we are the dreamers, we make it happen, guess we believe it. Look who we are the dreamers, we make it happen, guess we can see it. Let's do the one that keep the passion, respect, oh yeah. Let's do the one that got the magic, respect, oh yeah. Guess we believe it. Look who we are. We are the dreamers. We make it happen.